Welcome to Marketing at the Edge, where we explore how marketing must adapt to the pace of technological change. So, today we're going to dive into how AI can help you repurpose content, scale prospecting, build campaigns, and engage leads faster than we've ever really done before. It's been an incredible journey that we've been on. So, joining me today is Dominick Scafidi. He's a digital marketing consultant, a friend of mine, turned business development manager and partnership leader at Logical Media Group. Welcome to Marketing at the Edge, Dominick.
Hey, Michael, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Now, Dominick and I were having this conversation a few weeks ago, and I said, I need to capture that because he led a really fascinating initiative around utilizing the power of AI. And it was really focused on reaching executive leadership across more than 750 liberal arts colleges. And this journey he went on to do this works no matter what the customer profile you're going at. It's really a perfect example of how strategic prospecting, when powered by the right tools and approach, can really drive serious traction in a market segment. So, Dominick, can you kind of kick us off by sharing what were you tasked with and what was your approach around that?
So yeah, part of what I do is to set up referral partnerships and partnerships with companies that can bring us new business. Through a relationship, we had met a guy who had worked in private equity. His name was Joe D'Angelo, and he had essentially started a business during this time where universities are going through crises to help restructure the finances of colleges that are struggling and at risk. Last November, I believe, Forbes put together a list of colleges that were at risk. There was like 2,000 on the list. And they asked me to take that, break it down to a couple different geographies, and then see if I could somehow find a database of contacts that they could reach out to at those institutions at basically the C-suite level, president, provost, so on, board, etc. So to do that, I used Apollo IO, which is traditionally just a AI-driven B2B contact database with a sequencing tool. So I used AI and actually Chat 4.5 to build a list of URLs from that list of colleges. Previously, you might have, taken that list. I had the list of the 790 college names, but I needed the root domain URL for it to actually pump it into Apollo to then pump out those contacts. That was able to pretty much accomplish those URLs in about an hour or less. And I think previously this would have taken quite a bit of time for somebody to manually do or reach out to a, consultant or somebody on Fiverr. But the best part of this is then loading those URLs into Apollo and then actually allowing it to pick out the contacts using some of the AI filters, filtering out people lower than, I guess you could say, the C-suite level, then hunting for title keywords like president, provost, and so on. We came up with a pretty solid list of presidents to reach out to. And in this relationship and scenario, it's they wanted more, I guess you could say, more leads for their business, and anybody that came in, they were going to be willing to throw our way. So that might have been a service a company would have charged for a couple of years ago. But in this case, it was something that I was able to stand up quickly with the idea that we'll get some, business out of it in the long run.
So Apollo.io, and I had not used the tool before, but it really enabled you to help refine, based on this ideal customer profile you kind of built, refine how to build a go-to-market campaign around that. So you built this list, you initiated the campaign. What kind of early traction did you see around that?
It's that we had to launch it at a time where graduation had passed, and I guess you could say colleges and their president and executive staff had time to even look at something like that. So it was number one is timing, and I guess you could say we're really driving to phone call, and we're also trying to, most importantly, equip the couple guys that work at this organization who are, I guess, all high level themselves and have a lot more to do. This equipped them to be able to just respond do any incoming, not have to manage the messaging, clicking any send buttons. If there's a qualified person and they respond, that just popped in their inbox and they were able to hop on that immediately.
So then it's still really early stage because graduation kind of tell this we're in June of 2025 here, but it's still early. And have there been some preliminary results that you can share?
To my knowledge, we've had some conversations out of the gate. I'd probably say 5 to 10 conversations, but the hope is out of those conversations to have one or two universities actually move forward with the full financial restructuring. So if we get one, they would be extremely happy.
And that's the power right now in traditional marketing, just getting somebody on the phone, not just to open an email, but to get somebody on the phone is becoming harder and harder. So the fact that you were able to stand this up so fast. Now, if you had to do this via traditional methods, without AI, without the tools, any guess at how long that would have taken to build
Hmm.
that, to make that happen?
I think the list building would have at least taken a couple weeks. You could have probably found a lot of this on public information, but you're still manually having to go to each site, click through, find the contact information, and then you're going to have to take it back into some sort of CSV form, and then once again upload it into a platform that you're going to then deliver. So it would have taken not just more time, but probably multiple tools or platforms to accomplish. And on top of that, the sequence sender in Apollo can connect with anybody's inbox. It's pretty free with that. So you can connect your inbox. You can send out a 3-stage email over the course of 3 weeks. I'd say that previously you're going to have to bring in a more expensive tool, HubSpot, maybe a lower small business tool like a Constant Contact. It's going to drive your cost up like pretty significantly if you were just trying to do an email outbound campaign.
Yeah, and that's probably a big key here of, I mean, Salesforce.com is probably $1 million a year license, HubSpot significantly less in free versions, but to be able to bring all this together in a single usable, understandable tool is one of the keys. And that's one of the other things that AI is bringing is the power of acting like a large organization in the hands of a small business. So, all right, cool. So, one, thank you for walking us through that.
Yeah.
Love that example. I mean, key takeaway here. I mean, I always have a key takeaway that, AI isn't really replacing marketing, but it's definitely evolving marketing dramatically. It's replicating your best work at scale. But any other key takeaways that, you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, when we're talking about, I guess, doing things at scale, I I like to think about my like first moment with AI. I think it'll be something that you tell people about a couple of decades from now. Like this was my first time with it. I'm going to
Yeah.
remember it forever. But it was like spring 2022, and I was getting a podcast assignment from the company I was currently working at, and to do what I was being asked to do was to listen to the podcast, record time codes to pull out different things for reels and shorts on top of everything else I needed to be doing, my current workload. So I would typically do this outside of work hours and sit down and listen to it and write these things down on paper. But I was like, there has to be a better way to do this. There has to be some sort of tool I can just throw this recording into and it's going to do all this for me. So I found Pod Squeeze. Pod Squeeze is the tool. And you throw either a YouTube link or an audio recording in there. And it's going to give you every single content type that you need to promote this email, newsletter, blog, shorts and reels. All of that will automatically be produced in this tool. And you only pay about $20 a month for it. So I didn't even ask work to pay for it. I just did it myself, threw it in there, and they were like, the quality of this is increased. And how are you doing this so quickly? And I'm like, I'm not making something else do it. I have a tool that's doing it now. But I call it the repurposing revolution because companies would be sitting there previously. We have all this blog content from a couple years back. What do we do with it? How do we update it? I think AI is going to be able to rapidly advance those processes now, update this content in ways that we haven't seen before. Old audio content, old video content, you can now turn into written content with very little work. Of course, you now sit back and you're the checker instead of the creator. So you
No,
elevate your role.
yeah, no, I love that aha moment. And I'm sure all of us have experience and have those examples of where technology really just elevated our capability and our skill set and our productivity. And I think from a marketing lens perspective, we're going to see more and more of that. Dominic, thank you. Big shout out to you for bringing this and sharing these real world insights. So want to thank you for that very much.
Yeah, of course.
So if you want to learn more from Dominick, give him a follow on LinkedIn, and I will put your LinkedIn address out there so people can connect with you. Now, if you would like to revisit today's insights or explore upcoming topics, stay connected at Marketing at the Edge. I'm Michael Elliott. Until next time.